Alright, this is the fastest way to install Git on your Windows 11. I'll also explain what the installation settings mean along the way. Look up Git in your favorite search engine and go to gitscm.com. Click download for Windows. Don't worry about the latest release version, just go with the latest one. Here, unless you have specific needs, go with the 64-bit standalone installer. Other versions are designed for specific development environments or users who need portable installations without admin rights. Then find the installation file and launch it. Click Next. Here, choose the installation path and click Next. In this window, you can first choose whether you want a desktop icon for Git. Then, you need to decide about Windows Explorer integration options. You can choose whether you want to integrate Git Bash into your Windows Explorer right-click menu. What this means is that you'll have an option to right-click in any folder and open Git Bash directly at that location. This gives you quick access to Git commands wherever you are. Similarly, you can choose the same for Git GUI. If selected, this will add another right-click menu option, allowing you to open Git's graphical user interface from any folder. Both these integration options are really useful because they let you access Git tools easily without having to manually open a terminal and navigate to your project folders. Then there's Git LFS, which handles large files like videos or datasets. Most beginners won't need this for personal projects, but it's useful if you work with many large binary files. Next, leave the associations on. The .git association means Git files will open in your preferred text editor, and .sh files will open in Git Bash, which is Git's terminal. You can also set it to check daily for Git updates. This next setting allows you to open Bash in Windows Terminal. This means when you open Windows Terminal, you'll see Git Bash as an option in the drop-down menu. The last Scalar setting is a Git add-on for managing large-scale repositories. It's only useful for enterprise or huge repositories, so you probably don't need it for personal projects. Check what you need and click Next. Here, leave it as is and click Next. Now you can choose which text editor to associate with the .git files I mentioned earlier. This editor will also be used for commit messages and Git configurations. From this drop-down menu, pick which text editor you're using. I use Notepad++, so I'll go with that. This step is about naming the first branch when you create a new Git repository. If you don't have specific needs, leave it as is and click Next. This setting decides where you can use Git commands. Setting this correctly will save you time switching between different command line tools when working on projects. The Git Bash only option limits Git to Git Bash, which isn't recommended. The recommended option lets you use Git in Git Bash, Command Prompt, and PowerShell. The last option adds Unix tools, but can break Windows commands, so avoid it if you're unsure. Leave the default selected and click Next. This chooses which SSH tool Git will use for secure connections. SSH lets you securely connect with remote repositories like GitHub. The bundled OpenSSH works right out of the box and is recommended. External OpenSSH uses your system's SSH, so only pick that if you've already set it up. Leave the default selected and click Next. This decides how Git verifies HTTPS connections to ensure secure communication with remote repositories. OpenSSL uses Git's own certificates, which might need manual updates. Windows Secure Channel uses your system certificates and is recommended for most users. Leave the default selected and click Next. This setting controls how Git handles line endings in text files. Windows and Unix systems use different formats, which can cause issues. The first option converts to Windows style when pulling and Unix style when committing. The second keeps files as is when pulling, but converts to Unix style when committing. The last option does no conversion, which is only good for Windows-only projects. Leave the default selected for best cross-platform compatibility and click Next. This decides which terminal Git Bash will use. MinTTY has a better interface, Unicode support, and flexible resizing, so it's recommended. The Windows console works better with native programs, but has some limitations. Leave the default MinTTY selected unless you need Windows compatibility and click Next. This setting determines how Git pull updates your branch. The fast forward or merge option moves your branch forward, creating a merge commit if needed. This is recommended. Rebase applies changes on top of the latest version, which keeps history cleaner but is harder for beginners. Fast forward only prevents merge commits but fails if merging is needed. Leave the default selected for simplicity and click Next. This decides how Git handles authentication for online repositories. Git Credential Manager saves your credentials securely and is recommended for GitHub, GitLab, and and Bitbucket. The None option would make you enter your username and password every time. Leave the default selected for easier logins and click Next. This enables extra Git features. File system caching speeds up Git and is recommended. Symbolic links allow shortcuts but need admin rights, so only enable if needed. Leave caching checked, symbolic links unchecked, and click Install, and you're almost there. Once that's done, click Finish and open Command Prompt, PowerShell, or Git Bash. Type Git to see all the available commands. There it is. Git is successfully installed. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more helpful tech tutorials like this one. See you in the next video.